The Eastern Front, July 1941. Operation Barbarossa is tearing the Soviet Union apart. Amidst the chaos, heavy fighting erupts for the ancient Russian city of Velikiye Luki. The defense was desperate. 1,200 local militiamen tried to hold the line. Against them, the seasoned panzer divisions of the Wehrmacht. But this city would become a graveyard for the Wehrmacht. History often focuses on Stalingrad or Kursk, but the battles here were so brutal that historians later called this place the Little Stalingrad. This is the forgotten story of the Velikiye Luki meat grinder. The suicide run. The attack was led by General Beloborodov. He faced a nightmare scenario, a no-man's land of frozen snow, nearly 5 kilometers wide, separating his troops from the German lines. The militia couldn't hold for more than a few hours. The city fell, but history witnessed a miracle here. Just 3 days later, the Soviet 22nd Army launched a ferocious counterattack and recaptured the city. It was the first major settlement liberated by the Red Army in the entire war. However, this victory was short-lived. For 33 days, the city held out, but as the German war machine advanced on Moscow, the defenders were flanked. To avoid being trapped in a cauldron, they retreated. The front line froze. For 10 long months, silence fell over Velikiye Luki. The world turned its eyes to Stalingrad, but in the shadows of the north, a new storm was gathering. Historians would later call this battle the Little Stalingrad, a conflict overshadowed by giants, but equal in its brutality. The Intelligence War and the Starling House. Late 1942, the strategic situation changes. Soviet intelligence intercepts critical data. The Germans are moving massive forces behind Army Group Center. The Wehrmacht plans a surprise offensive, codenamed Operation Skavornik. Starling House. Their ace in the hole, Erich von Manstein, one of Hitler's most brilliant strategists. He is promised a promotion if he succeeds, but the Soviets are one step ahead. They realize Manstein intends to strike the Kalinin front. The Soviet High Command Stavka decides to disrupt this plan with a preemptive strike. The target, the junction between Army Group North and Army Group Center. The goal was not just to take territory, but to pin down German divisions, preventing them from being sent south to save the 6th Army at Stalingrad. The main striking force is led by Major General Afanassy Beloborodov, but upon arriving at the front, he faces a tactical nightmare. A no-man's land nearly 5 kilometers wide separates his troops from the German trenches. To cross this frozen open ground under machine gun fire is suicide. Beloborodov proposes a radical, almost insane plan: attack without artillery preparation. No warning bombardment, just a silent, rapid advance to cross the Great Zone before the Germans wake up. His superior, General Veliki, argues against it, fearing a massacre. But Marshal Georgy Zhukov intervenes. He backs the risky plan. The element of surprise is chosen over brute force. Meanwhile, inside Velikiye Luki, the Germans are complacent. They are fortifying the western side, expecting an attack from the rear, not the front. They believe the Red Army is exhausted and focused on Erich. German intelligence fails completely. They see Beloborodov's vanguard regiments probing the lines, but dismiss them as minor skirmishes. In a fatal error, Manstein's elite units board trains and head south to Stalingrad, believing the sector is quiet. November 25th, the trap springs. It wasn't just a probe, it was an avalanche. The Soviet main force crashes into the German lines. The defense disintegrates. In just 2 days, all supply roads are cut. The result is catastrophic for the Wehrmacht. "7,000 soldiers are trapped inside the city. Another garrison to the south is also encircled. In total, 10 German divisions are locked in combat here, divisions that simply vanish from the strategic map when Hitler needs them most. The reaction from Berlin is predictable. Field Marshal von Kluge asks permission to break out. Hitler's response is immediate: retreat is out of the question. Velikiye Luki is declared infesting a fortress. The garrison commander, Lieutenant Colonel von Sass, is promoted and promised a Knight's Cross. His orders are to die fighting. The city is turned into a concrete meat grinder. 3 defensive belts. Every basement is a bunker. Every attic is a sniper nest. The heart of the defense is the ancient citadel, dating back to Peter the Great. The Soviet assault begins on December 13th. It is a slaughter. The 357th Division smashes against the old fortress, but is repelled by withering fire. Desperate to save his reputation, von Kluge tries to organize a relief force. But there are no reserves left. Stalingrad has consumed everything. He scrapes together 2 infantry divisions, but it's not enough. Inside the cauldron, the fighting descends into medieval brutality. The Soviets deploy the Estonian Rifle Corps soldiers eager to fight but lacking experience. They suffer horrific losses. In the confusion of urban combat, friendly fire incidents occur, and morale wavers. Psychological warfare begins. Soviet loudspeakers blast across the ruins in German, playing messages from post-surrender. We are fed. We are alive. It works. Around 100 Germans defect, choosing captivity over frozen death. January 1943, the ring tightens. The relief attempts have failed. German tanks are stopped just 5 kilometers from the city. The garrison is doomed. On January 15th, the final storm begins. This time, there is no silent approach. 152mm heavy howitzers pound the fortress at point-blank range. Soviet assault teams use a terrifying weapon, the Ampulomets. These throwers launch glass spheres filled with incendiary liquid, turning German bunkers into infernos. House by house, the city is cleared. The last pocket of resistance is the railway station bunker, deep underground. Inside sits the newly promoted Colonel von Sass and his staff. Soviet sappers begin stacking explosives to bury them alive. Realizing the end has come, von Sass refuses to commit suicide. He walks out and surrenders. By January 17th, it is over. 4,000 Germans are taken prisoner. The victory is total, but the cost is absolute. Velikiye Luki ceases to exist. It was wiped off the face of the earth. While the world celebrated the victory at Stalingrad weeks later, the soldiers here knew the truth. They had fought their own Stalingrad in the snows of the north. They had bled the Wehrmacht dry, ensuring that the German war machine would never recover. The no man's land and the gamble, the main striking force for this new offensive was the Guards Rifle Corps, led by Major General Beloborodov. But when Beloborodov arrived at the front lines, he saw a tactical nightmare. Over the months of inactivity, a massive no man's land had formed a neutral zone nearly 5 kilometers wide covered in snow. To attack through this open ground meant exposing his infantry to devastating machine gun fire for an extended time. Beloborodov went to his commander, General Veliki, with a radical proposal. We must cross the gray zone secretly. No artillery preparation, no warning bombardment. Veliki argued against it. If you attack without artillery, you will be slaughtered. The debate was settled by Georgy Zhukov himself.